Hey, welcome to Algebra 1A. I'm Mrs. Matheson. We're going to start off with some Unit 1, Notes 1 on solving equations. Before we actually get right into the video, let me just give you some reminders about watching the video. When you're watching a video, you need to be an active and engaged learner. Active and engaged learner is a lot different than just watching the YouTube video for fun. You need to actually pause the video when you need to write stuff down. It's not like class when the teacher is talking and just keeps going and you don't have time to write. Pause the video, write down what you need to. Watch a problem being done, then pause it, write down the work, rewind it. That's a huge thing, is we can actually rewind, re-listen to things being explained. Pause the video and rewinding are huge assets to being able to watch the video. Also, if there's a problem that's left undone during the video, please make sure to actually complete it before we have our next class period. The teacher, I, or another teacher are actually expecting you to come with those problems completed. They're not for you to not do, but you actually need to try out and practice what we're learning. All right, so let's go right into it. Unit 1, Notes 1 is on solving equations. This is going to be a review, and that's a great place for us to start. Our learning target for the day is to, I can solve multi-step equations. So by the end of the video, you should be able to say, hey, I can, or by the end of the notes, hey, I can do that. How do I solve equations with multiple steps? Well, there's 4 steps that will help us solve every equation. So step 1 says simplify each side of the equal sign by distributing or combining like terms. So if you have parentheses, you're going to be thinking, I'm distributing. If you have terms multiple terms that have a variable or multiple constants, you're going to combine them. So you're adding or you're subtracting them. Then you're going to gather the variables to one side of the equal sign. So all your variables are going to end up on one side. You're going to use addition or subtraction to cancel the constants. And our step 4 is you're going to use multiplication or division to cancel the coefficient. This is a perfect example of a great time to pause the video and finish writing down what I've just talked about. Alright, so now that you've paused the video and you've got those steps written down, let's actually get into practicing. So let's look at this problem. It says x plus 5x minus 5 equals 1. So let's just follow our 4 steps. So simplify each side of the equal sign by distributing and combining like terms. Well, we have no parentheses, so we have nothing we need to distribute, but we do have some like terms. They are both on the same side of the equal sign, so we're just going to combine them. It's an x, which we're thinking 1x, and a 5x. So we're going to combine those by adding because they're both positive, and we get ourselves 6x minus 5 equals 1. Step 2, gather the variables to one side of the equal sign. Hey, we don't even have to do that. It's already taken care of for us. All of our x's are on the left side. Step 3, use addition or subtraction to cancel the constant. Constant, that means a term that has no variable with it. So if you don't know what a constant is, pause the video, write on the side of your notes. Constant, the term that has no variable. So we're going to move this negative 5. We're going to move it to the other side of the equal sign. Because we're moving it to the other side of the equal sign, we're thinking we're doing the opposite to it. So if it's a negative 5, I'm going to add 5. And if I do it to one side of the equal sign, I need to do it to the other side. So now, those are going to cancel, and we have 6x equals 6. And last, step 4 says use multiplication or division to cancel the coefficient. Coefficient is the number in front of the variable. So I need to get rid of that 6. Now 6x means 6 times x. So I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 6. And I get x equals 6 divided by 6 is 1. Great way that I can go ahead and check my answer is by actually plugging it back into my original problem everywhere I see that x. So I'm just going to check my answer and do this just quick. I have 1 plus 5 times 1 minus 5 equals 1. 5 times 1 gives me 5. So I'm just going to go 1 plus 5 is 6. minus 5, 6 minus 5 is 1, and 1 equals 1. Then my answer is correct. All right, problem 2. All right, step 1 says simplify each side of the equal sign by distributing or combining like terms. Well, we have parentheses, so we're going to distribute here. Now, remember, when we distribute, we're doing multiplication. So 12 times 2 gives me 24, and 12 times that negative x gives me negative 12x equals 36. Step 2, gather the variables to one side of the equal sign. Awesome, all my variables are on one side. 3, use addition or subtraction to cancel the constant. My constant is that 24. It's a positive 24. That minus sign goes with the 12. So I'm going to get rid of this 24 by doing the opposite. But if I do it to one side of the equal sign, I need to do it to the other. So those are going to cancel. I'm going to bring down, now that negative sign stays with that 12. So I have negative 12x equals 36 minus 24 gives me 12. All right, step 4 says use multiplication or division to cancel the coefficient. I have negative 12 times x, so I'm going to divide by negative 12. Divide by negative 12. X equals 12 divided by negative 12 gives me negative 1. Now, if you want to check your answer, plug that back in for x. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at problem 3. Problem 3 says 6x minus 11 equals negative 2x plus 5. So step 1, simplify each side of the equal sign by distributing or combining like terms. Now I'm looking at each side of the equal sign. So I have 6x minus 11 and negative 2x minus or plus 5. So those are on x's are on different sides. So step 2 says gather the variables to one side of the equal sign. Well, I can either move my 6x or I can move my negative 2x. I like to move all my variables to my left-hand side. Then I know my answer is going to be x equals. You can certainly move to either side. I just like the left side. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides because I had a negative 2x. So I get 8x minus 11 equals 5. Step 3, use addition or subtraction to cancel the constant. All right, so I'm going to move my negative 11 by adding 11 to both sides. I end up with 8x equals 16. And last, step 4 says to use multiplication or division to cancel the coefficient. So I'm going to divide by 8 on both sides, and we get x equals 2. I'm going to leave problem 4 up to you guys to do and come with that done for tomorrow. All right, problem 5. Ooh, problem 5 is a little tricky. It's got that fraction in it. So, that 1/2 with that x. We actually don't need to be scared of that. So step 1 says to simplify each side of the equal sign by distributing or combining like terms. Well, we have 1/2 x plus x. So if I think about that, 1/2 x plus x is going to give me 1 1/2 x. So we have negative 10 equals 1 1/2 x. I don't really like the way that that looks, so I'm going to take 1 1/2 and I'm going to make it into a improper fraction. So remember, take your 2 times your 1, and then we're going to add it back in. So we get negative 10 equals 3/2 x. 3 says use addition or subtraction to cancel the constant. We don't have one this time, so then we're going to go to problem 4. Use multiplication or division to cancel the coefficient. So we need to get rid of that 3/2. We could divide by 3/2, but dividing by a fraction, we don't want to do that. We actually want to multiply by the reciprocal. So multiplying by the reciprocal means we're going to flip my original fraction. And I'm going to do it to both sides. My 3 and 3 will cancel, my 2 and 2 will cancel, so we're going to be left with x. I'm going to take 2/3 and times it by negative 10. Let's take negative 10 and make it into a fraction. Now I multiply straight across on the top, so 2 times negative 10 gives me negative 20, and 3 times 1 gives me 3. You can leave it as this improper fraction, or we can create this into a mixed number. 3 goes into negative 20, 6 times, negative 6 times, with 2/3 left over. All right, problem 6 is a tricky one here. Problem 6 has got fraction on both sides, and my variable is in both of those. And I think that this is a perfect place to pick up tomorrow for us to do problem 6. So we'll see you guys the next day we have class and pick up where we left off.